Welcome to the Online Writing Center here at ACU Online. My name is Julie Johnson Archer. I'm the Writing Center Director. I see Dr. Basil Considine in the room, our doctoral writing specialist. Glad to see you, and welcome to all of the new students or returning students. We are introducing ourselves here in the chat room, so feel free to continue introducing yourself. And we've got a little question for you. What is something you're looking forward to at ACU this term? I know a lot of you are starting something new. Some of you mentioned moving as well, so maybe a lot of new journeys that you are about to start. So we are glad to see you here at ACU Online and specifically the Writing Center. So let's talk about the Writing Center, and I'm going to take us on a mini field trip around a few of the resources that you have available to you. And as a reminder, we are recording, so no need to remember everything you're seeing. The fact that you're here shows that you're already getting yourself prepared for the term ahead. So the Online Writing Center is a free resource to all ACU Online students. And I'm about to hop over to my ACU, where you've probably been setting things up, getting used to where things are. The Online Writing Center has a group in that website. So I'm going to share that with us here in a moment. But from that group, that's your one-stop shop for a video tutorial on how to make a Writing Center appointment, how to access different writing resources we have, like APA templates, all of our webinar recordings, like this one. And to give you an overview of the Writing Center's tutoring services, we have two different types of Writing Center appointments. The first and our most popular is our email asynchronous appointments. And this works for people with busy schedules. So if we were in a room together, I would say raise your hand if you have a busy schedule, you are taking care of a family, you have a job, you're in an online degree program. All of us would raise our hand. Yeah, you can raise your virtual hand. That's all of us. So the email asynchronous appointment is intended for you to work with your busy schedule. Basically, you upload your file for an appointment, and your tutor will just send you feedback via email within 24 hours of your appointment time. So simple as that. It doesn't require your actual presence at a specific time. So that's one option. If you prefer or are interested in a live conversation and you want to talk to a tutor in a Zoom meeting or over the phone even, we offer that as well. Those are offered in Central Time. So if you are looking for a Zoom appointment, just keep in mind if you're in a different time zone, all of the Writing Center's offerings are listed in Central Time. And the Writing Center tutors are really here to work with you at any stage of your writing and at any level of your writing development, whether you are brand new to college level writing or graduate level writing or doctoral level writing, or you're coming back to school and it's been a while, or even if you've done a lot of academic writing, the Writing Center is for all types of students. So I'm going to check the chat, make sure I'm not missing any questions here. And then we're going to hop over to my ACU to check out more of the resources together. Awesome. And Basil is sharing a link. However, that is our, as of this week, old link. Let me get the new link for us. We are transitioning just this week to the new MyACU group. So here is that link in the chat room. Now, I see a couple questions about wanting to check in. For this webinar, there's no check-in. You can, mark that you've attended just on your own, but we don't have like an attendance sheet for tonight's Writing Center webinar. There might be for other types of webinars that you're attending this week, but not for this one. This one's optional. Yep. We're glad you're here. All right, so I'm going to reshare my screen and actually go to the link I just put in the chat room. So if you want to click on that and follow along with me, please do. We are going to this URL. So you might be familiar with My ACU. As you're getting used to everything, this is a new feature as of this term in My ACU called groups. And so the Writing Center has this group here, and I recommend for any groups or tools, resources in My ACU that you want to have easy access to, go ahead and click the star button, and that's going to add it to your shortcuts over on the left-hand menu. So if you want to do that, go ahead and click the star, and it will add the Writing Center's group to your shortcuts. I'll also mention that you have access to changing your own notifications in My ACU. So if you go to the notification settings, it's that little bell with the settings wheel. Go ahead and click on that, and I recommend turning your notifications on because the Writing Center is going to begin using this group more for announcements. And if you have been checking your email, new students, returning students, you might have received some information that I'll show you here under the discussion in the group. So the first thing you might see is Writing Center webinars for Fall 1. That is the term we're about to start. And you're going to see a lot of information here. This is going to stay here this whole term, so you can always find it. You're going to see our complete Writing Center webinar schedule. We've got a lot of really amazing webinars planned for this term, so check that out. For those of you who are here, you found the correct Zoom link. This is the same Zoom room that we'll use for all of the Writing Center's webinars. So if you've done it once, you can do it for all Writing Center webinars. All right, and we're also going to use this discussion feature more. We're going to try just different things to tell you all about our team. If you have a quick question, it looks like this would be a great place to write a post and ask questions and see what other people are asking about as well. If you want to ask a private question, we also have an email address, and that is onlinewritingcenter@acu.edu. So I'll put that in the chat here. If you have writing related questions, a quick one like how do I cite this source in APA? Or I want to make a Writing Center appointment, but I'm not sure if I did it right. Great, ask our team and one of our team members will get back to you via email. So that's another option for you. All right, so from the main page, the welcome page of this group, this is what I was saying. You can really access everything Writing Center related from this one page. The very first link you're going to see is the Online Writing Center has its own website where we house our webinars, APA templates, lots of other writing resources. So we're going to click on that and go to this page. From here, you can access our Writing Center schedule. You can access that from multiple places. We try to make that easy to find. You can learn about us, our mission, the people on our team, which I highly recommend reading over to see all about our amazing team members. Read about the different services we offer, and then find more resources. So if you're interested in tutoring, but you're not sure what tutoring means in the Online Writing Center, You can read more about those different types of appointments and tips for how to use the Writing Center. I'm going to click on the webinars page and show you briefly. This is where we house all of our webinar recordings along with our upcoming schedule of webinars. So if you haven't already, I'm going to share a link to RSVP for upcoming webinars, upcoming Writing Center webinars. Whoops, I forgot the link there. So I put that in the chat room for you. And I recommend RSVPing for any webinar that interests you, including tonight's Introduction to the Writing Center webinar, even though you're here. Let me tell you why. Even if you are unable to attend one of the webinars you sign up for, the benefit of RSVPing is that you'll automatically receive the webinar recording and the slides after the webinar is done. So that's the benefit of registering. There's a couple other features in that form where you can request other types of webinars, topics that we might not have covered before, and follow our Google Calendar from this link. All right, so if you are wanting to follow along and you didn't catch the link that I'm on, or how to get there, this is the homepage for our webinars. All right, so if you scroll past the login information, you're going to see Fall 1, our current term, and all of the upcoming webinars that we've got going on. We've already had one. Dr. Considine here has already offered one drop-in office hour. That was yesterday, actually 2 hours, followed by a live edit, a really popular ongoing opportunity to see how an editor edits an actual student's manuscript, often looking at dissertation drafts, but sometimes other types of student papers. Here we are on the Introduction to the Writing Center, and then you can see from here on throughout the term, we have a lot of other webinars coming up. You might notice some of them say virtual release. That just means asynchronous. In other words, it's not a live webinar, but on this day, we're going to release the webinar recording. So you can come back and find that here. And before I move forward too much more, we've got a great question in the chat room asking about the tutoring, and does the Writing Center tutor for all subjects? And if not, what classes do we cover? So I'm going to answer your question a couple different ways. So the Writing Center offers tutoring to students in any class, no matter what class you're taking, what program, undergraduate, graduate, the Writing Center can help you. But that said, we focus on the writing aspect of your work and your assignments. So we can help you with the essays you're writing, even PowerPoints and presentations you're building, scripts, and different types of writing assignments. We can help with all of those things. But if you're looking for other types of subject tutoring, subject matter tutoring, that is where you have access to some other resources that we'll talk about, including tutor.com, which offers tutoring in other subjects other than writing. So math, statistics. We've got a brand new doctoral research center. So you will be hearing about that soon. But tutor.com would be the go-to place for tutoring right now outside of writing. That's a really good question and good distinction to make. All right, when you're looking past the current webinars that we are offering, you're going to come upon a helpful tabbed guide. So let's say, I think I saw some students in here who are beginning the MFT program, the Marriage and Family Therapy. So if that's you, you might click on MFT, and that tab will open up all of our related webinar recordings that are already available, and they are organized by course. And so, as you can see, if you are planning to take this course in the MFT program, we've already got a lot of different webinars dedicated to different writing assignments and skills that are going to be required of you in that course. More generally, we have a lot of webinars about writing dissertations and writing at the doctoral level. So you might just browse the different webinar recordings that we have. Week 0 is a really good time to do this because you're not actively taking your course and reading and absorbing all of that information. So these are a resource for you throughout your education journey, and you can see, okay, I'm about to take this nursing class. Let me plan ahead to watch that recording when I have a chance, maybe the weekend before it's due. So that's just another resource for you. And before we move on back to our slides, a couple more things. The APA tab under our resources is likely one of the most useful places for students who are brand new to APA. And so here's the link if you're wanting to, again, follow along. Go ahead and, if you're following along, download the undergraduate paper template. This is a simple APA template, and it's a paper that you can download and open up in Microsoft Word and use to fill in for any paper that you write. So for your first paper that's likely due in the next couple of weeks in your first courses, go ahead and download this template and plan to use it. So what we're going to do is, if you click on that link, I see a lot of folks are clicking on that link. You won't be able to type on it here in Google Docs. That's intentional. We're keeping this as a template for everyone to use. So instead, go ahead and follow with me to click on File and click Download Microsoft Word. So again, if you're looking at this template and it's coming up like it is here, you can File, Download, open it in Microsoft Word. All right, so those are a few tips about downloading our APA template. And if we have time later this evening, we're gonna take a closer look at the APA template, and you can ask more questions about it if you have them. The last thing I want to do on our little tour before going back to our slide deck is note that we do have a brief video tutorial. Again, this is back on our My ACU page. And this walks you through the steps for how to make a tutoring appointment with the Writing Center. So we are going to talk briefly about that tonight, but again, you don't have to memorize it. When you are getting ready to make your first Writing Center appointment, you can watch this tutorial to walk you through those steps as well. But if you want to go ahead and get set up for when you do want to make an appointment, click Schedule an Appointment Now to go to our tutor's schedule. I'll also post this in the chat room. All right, so when you click on that link to go to the schedule, you will first be prompted to register within our system. Please fill out that registration form. It'll ask you things like what degree program are you in and other aspects about you as a writer. So fill that out for our data. But once you do that once, then a screen like this will come up. And before I move forward, let me answer a quick question about using our templates. One person asks, should we not use Google Docs and use Microsoft? So Dr. Constantine is right. We really recommend using Microsoft Word for our APA templates. All right, so Word is a free resource for you as an ACU student, so might as well use it. Google Docs is available to you as well, and you can use it for drafting or working on a collaborative paper or project, note-taking, things like that. But Google Docs will often break down some of the APA formatting that's required for an APA formatted paper, especially things like a graduate capstone or doctoral dissertation. If you're getting up into where APA formatting is required, we definitely recommend using Microsoft Word. And again, make sure you log into Microsoft to access all of Microsoft Office through your ACU account for free. Great questions. And if I missed a question before, let me know, and I'll answer the questions as they come in the chat room. So to access Microsoft Word, if you go to office.com, it'll give you the option to log in with your institutional account, and that's where you can log in with ACU, your ACU login. And if you're having trouble getting to the page to make an appointment, feel free to follow up. Again, here's our email address, Online Writing Center at acu.edu. If you have follow-up questions about making your appointments. All right, so briefly, an overview of our appointment system. You are allowed to make 2 Writing Center appointments per week. So every single week of the term, you can make 2 more Writing Center appointments. You could make them for 2 separate papers that you're working on, or schedule a first appointment, get some feedback, schedule a second appointment for the same paper, and upload the revised copy to get another round of feedback. This is a really great way to improve your writing through the writing process instead of just waiting till the end. All right, so 2 appointments per week. You can schedule them up to 2 weeks in advance, and this is helpful to, especially as we get towards finals week, to just plan ahead. And if you know you have a big paper coming up, go ahead and schedule your appointment a week or 2 in advance. And that way you have that external deadline. And if you struggle to get started, or you need some help against procrastination, or whatever you face with the writing process, you can use the Writing Center to help you stay accountable as well. Thanks, Basil, for including more support for how to access Microsoft there in the chat room. Awesome. So if you are searching for an appointment, you're able to refine your search if you want. So I'll note that let's just do an example search for today. Even though it's week 0, your classes haven't started, we are available. So if you wanted to submit something and get some writing feedback, you could as early as tonight. So let's say after this webinar concludes, it'll be 8 p.m. Central Time. So let's say that's my preferred appointment time. I don't know any of the Writing Center staff if you're a new student, so you could just say whoever is available. But once you start to get to know our team, you could search for individual tutors. You can also limit your search to a variety of different specializations, and this is completely optional. We have folks who are, we have tutors who are available to really focus in and work with DNP students, our nursing, our EDD students, students who are bilingual or multilingual, students who are working in Spanish or want tutoring in Spanish, and undergraduate writers. I want to reiterate that you don't have to select any of these. If you want to just work with whoever is available, that's completely fine. But sometimes folks want to seek out someone who is specialized in your area, and so know that you can do that. And then if you want an email appointment or a Zoom appointment, you can select that or leave it again as any available. So when you click Find Appointments, we're going to come to a screen like this. And if there's a perfect match, that's going to come up first. As you can see, we are wide open at 8 p.m. this evening. You could work with Dr. Bradley, Christy, or Sarah. And if you see a note here, Sarah has the Zoom option. If you don't see that, then they're offering email asynchronous, and that will be clear as you're scheduling that appointment. If they have the Zoom option, that's where you have the option to either select Zoom. Yeah, I want to meet at 8 p.m. with Sarah in a Zoom room. Or you can still opt out of the Zoom and just do email asynchronous. So you'll click reserve. This is important. When you click reserve, an appointment form shows up and you fill that out. We'll go over that here in a little bit, but once you reserve your appointment, you will receive a confirmation email and you're all set. So we're going to start over. And once you make your appointment, it'll show up here on the right-hand side of your screen. So you can always come back to it, edit it. That's where you access the Zoom link if it's a Zoom appointment, and that's where you can upload your paper as well. I'll just mention one more thing before leaving the tutor schedule tour. You can also click view the calendar display. This is the option that the tutors most often use that gives you kind of a bird's eye view of the whole tutoring schedule, and you can then see all of the available appointments on a calendar rather than doing the appointment search. But most people find the appointment search is the fastest way to make an appointment. All right, so let me get to a few of these good questions before we go back to our slides. So we've got a question about live appointments if you're local, and I'm wondering if you're meeting in person. The Online Writing Center does not have a physical location, so all of our appointments are virtual, either asynchronous or via Zoom. So let me know if that answers your question. We do have a residential writing center, but that is for residential students, not online students, so I don't think that applies. Awesome that you're using the badges to help learn all these different resources. We'll mention one about APA here in just a moment. And if you came in late, no worries. We will be posting the recording of this session. Let me grab the link for you. You can always rewatch parts that you missed, find the recordings and all the slide decks as well. So yeah, if you're here, don't worry about coming in late to the Writing Center webinars. These are optional and you are welcome to come and go as you need to. All right, so back to our slides we go. Y'all have some great questions. Keep them coming if you have them. So a lot of the content in the slide deck that we're going to see, I'm going to move through pretty quickly. You, again, will have access to download these slides if you'd like to refer back to them. Some of this will be review now that we've gone to these different web pages. But in a nutshell, if you are looking to make a Writing Center appointment, keep these 2 steps in mind. First, schedule an appointment in our Writing Center schedule, and that will ensure that you save an hour of a tutor's time. So all of our appointments are an hour in length. The second step is to upload your file. Whatever it is you're working on, you can upload that on the appointment form. So I'll show you that in a moment. But just keep that in mind. Those are the 2 steps you need to do. You can also do them at different times. So again, if you're kind of planning ahead, even thinking about right now, you don't have any papers due yet. The term hasn't even started, but you know that you probably will have an assignment due in a week or maybe 2 weeks. So go ahead and schedule an appointment. Then once you have started your paper, maybe the day or 2 before your appointment comes around, then you can go back, open up the appointment and upload your paper. So again, you don't have to upload a paper right at the same time as making your appointment. As you saw on our webinars page, we have a lot of webinars upcoming. This is just a a few of the many, many webinars we have planned. And I've gone ahead and bolded a couple of the ones that are really geared towards new students, although you're welcome to all of our webinars, of course. The next webinar that we're hosting live, Basil will be hosting here in the, he's here in the Zoom room helping me out. Thank you again. So he will be hosting the Introduction to Graduate Writing in APA Style tomorrow night. So if you're interested in that, please plan to attend. That'll be at 6 p.m. Central. A couple of virtual releases coming out this weekend, so check back on our website for those. Then for our doctoral students, we have our next installment of a dissertation intensive series. So this is going to happen over the course of several days, or actually longer than that this time. We are having sessions geared toward different aspects of doctoral writing, the first one being APA. So that one would be good for all levels of writers, but it is geared towards our dissertation and doctoral level students. So we highly recommend that. We will have a special guest coming to that first APA session on Monday the 19th, our doctoral research center director. So looking forward to that, along with a more basic introduction to APA 7th edition for all levels of writers on Tuesday. So a few key writing resources to provide to you. Some of them I already have provided. A few that I will go ahead and plug into the chat room for you are our multilingual and ESL resources page. So if that is you, go ahead and check out the resources we have available for you. We are here to support all levels of students, including multilingual students. And that resource page that I linked was created by our multilingual writing specialist, Sarah, and she's the one who offers Spanish tutoring as well. Great, thank you, Basil, for sharing more information about the dissertation intensive first webinar that's coming up. Brand new as of this term, we have a fun interactive APA self-study course. Now, I think it's fun. That is subjective, but we have really crafted this to be a resource you can come back to for the whole time you're at ACU Online. So if you want that link, I forgot to post that here in the chat room. Give me one moment to find that link. The APA self-study course has different sections, different parts to it to learn APA as a beginner, but then also test your knowledge. So I highly recommend bookmarking that link, coming back to it whenever you have APA questions. You will definitely be using the library. So there's the link to the ACU Online Library, as well as accessing your Grammarly Premium account. And there are instructions for how to access that in the link that I provided in the chat room as well. All right, so that was a lot of information already. I'm gonna pause here and ask if there are any questions over things we've covered so far. Give you an overview of the rest of our time here. We are going to talk a little bit more about getting writing feedback, not just from the Writing Center, but a few other places. And then kickstarting your first writing assignment. This is where we're going to take a closer look at the APA template for how to really get started, because that's often one of the hardest parts or things that people feel most anxious about is starting that first writing paper or assignment that you have. So getting writing feedback, you have a lot of different avenues, but of course I'm biased coming from the Writing Center. we are the one I will focus on most, but you also have access to tutor.com and Grammarly, so we'll talk briefly about them. Just to reiterate, the Writing Center services are free, and we are available via email or Zoom for tutoring appointments. And if you do search through our schedule, you'll see that tutors are available through the weekdays, the weeknights, and the weekends, because we know you're working at various times depending on your schedule, your time zone, things like that. So if you work with a Writing Center tutor, know that we're really trained in APA, and we're experienced as well with ACU's online programs and assignments. I mentioned that we offer Spanish tutoring as well for any courses that you're taking in Spanish or you would just like to talk about in Spanish. So the next few slides are intended to be a resource to come back to. If you do download the slides, you can click on all the links that you see that are hyperlinked here. The Writing Center is accessible from my ACU, like I showed you, but it's also available in Canvas. So that's where all your courses are, and there will be an online Writing Center link on the left-hand course navigation menu. And we already got a great question. What does APA stand for? Thank you so much for asking that. APA is a style. So it stands for the American Psychological Association, and they have a style guide for how to format papers, how do you write in APA style, and how do you cite different sources using in-text citations, things like that. So if you have more questions, which you likely do, I highly recommend some of our APA webinars coming up. But we'll also look at that template to give you a good idea of what an APA formatted paper looks like here in just a little bit. All right, so we looked at my ACU. We talked about how to make an appointment using our appointment search feature. Now this is what happens when you click on reserve. So when you are ready to reserve an appointment, this is the appointment form that comes up. You will have access to your tutor's direct email. So if you do have follow-up questions, you are running a little late and you want to let your tutor know, you can always let them know and email them directly as well. So that's what that pops up with. There's a few instructions about how to submit your paper. Just a reminder that you can submit your paper anytime before the appointment, and you attach your file to the appointment form at the bottom. I'll show you that. Just a note, if your file happens to be larger than 5 megabytes, then you'll need to email it directly to your tutor. The system can only accept files that are 5 or less megabytes. So if you're experiencing an error uploading a paper, that's where you get to use your tutor's email address and just send it directly to them. We also offer Turnitin similarity reports, and that's something that you'll become familiar with in your courses. You also have access to uploading your own papers to Turnitin to check, are you accidentally plagiarizing? Did you miss some quotes? Did you miss some citations? That is a helpful part of the writing process. And if you want more support, how do I understand the similarity report that I'm getting from Turnitin on my paper? You can follow a video tutorial for first how to access that Turnitin report and then how to upload it and ask your tutor for feedback. And Basil elaborated helpfully on the APA question. Almost all online classes at ACU use APA style as their required style. And it's very common for publishing and in scholarly work. Another question asking about how strict are professors about following APA guidelines. even if you're showing good understanding of the content they're teaching? That's another really good question, and that's going to probably depend on the course that you're taking, even the assignment that you're taking or that you're working on. So it will be clear in each new class that you're taking what the APA standards are and the requirements. For some undergraduate courses, they ease you in to APA. They'll say like practice your APA formatting, and they might not take off points. For later undergraduate courses and most graduate and doctoral courses, APA format is a standard, and you will be graded on your APA formatting as a part of each assignment. And you'll be able to see how much of a score each part of the rubric has in your assignments as well. So that's a really good question, one to keep in mind as you get started with your courses. Scrolling down in our appointment form for the Writing Center appointment, you'll see a few different text boxes, and the first one is the main one we need you to answer, so I'm going to tell you what this is. It says the Canvas link to the assignment directions and rubric. Now, if you are looking at your assignment in Canvas, let me go ahead and share with you an example. We'll take a look at this example assignment. So this is from Core 115, and that's a really common undergraduate course you might be enrolled in. But no matter what course you're taking, you're going to have assignment pages that look like this. So here's the assignment, here's the instructions. If you scroll down, this is the rubric I was telling you about. So in this example, this is a week 2, W2 stands for week 2 assignment. And most of the points looks like answering the content questions. However, the last criterion is how long the paper is, its organization and flow, grammar, and this one is formatted based on APA guidelines and includes in-text citations and a reference page, at least one source. So you can see this is very detailed information and shows you exactly how you'll be graded. So when you're filling out the appointment form for the Writing Center, this URL, when you're on the assignment itself, this is the URL we want you to copy and then simply paste into the appointment form. The reason that's required is that then your tutor will be able to click on that link and go directly to your assignment instructions. And we keep all of the assignment instructions in mind as we're giving you feedback. So we might say, check to see if this paragraph is on topic. Based on the assignment instructions, it sounds like you need to address this other topic. Or, based on the assignment, we'll give you some extra feedback. So that's really important, and it helps us know what's expected of you for each thing you're working on. You're welcome to add more specific details, requests for specific feedback, like you have something you're really maybe feeling concerned about, you're getting some feedback that you need to work on, your paraphrasing skills or your synthesis skills or some other aspect of writing, you can let us know. Then some other details from your professor and assignment. If you're having an email appointment, sometimes tutors will give you a video in addition to our written feedback. So if you don't want a video, you can let us know, but that's just an option there. Then you can let your tutor know anything else about you, such as specific learning concerns, preferences, or disabilities that specifically relate to your writing process or ways you access our feedback. And Dr. Considine is correct here in the chat room. You can also make an appointment after you've turned in a paper and you've received feedback from your instructor and you're not sure how to implement that feedback, either on that draft or on a future draft. So you're welcome to make Writing Center appointments for a variety of types of assignments, even ones that you've already submitted for a grade. So here is the very bottom of the appointment form, and it's where you attach your files. You can attach more than one. For example, if you have 2 parts to one assignment, you can upload those 2 documents. You can also upload PowerPoint slides, PDFs, even other types of files. Obviously, the most common one is probably a Word document. Then you'll click Create Appointment, and that's what saves your appointment in the system, and you'll get an automated email along with a reminder, usually the day before the appointment. Couple other details, you can always cancel an appointment. Just make sure you do so 30 minutes in advance to respect that tutor's time and then give another student a chance to save that appointment if they're looking for it. And then what counts as a missed appointment? So for an email asynchronous appointment, you will be marked missed if you forget to upload your file by the appointment time. So that's what your tutor needs to be able to give you feedback. So make sure you upload that anytime before the appointment. And then basically pretty intuitive, if you miss a Zoom meeting, then you'll be marked missed. And you can miss up to 2 appointments per term, and that refreshes every term. But just to respect the tutor and other students' time, that's why we have that limit. And just to reiterate, all of the times of our appointments are listed in Central Time. More information we've already covered about uploading your files. A note about academic integrity and avoiding plagiarism. Like I mentioned, ACU uses Turnitin to catch plagiarism in some ways, but we can also use it as part of the writing process to improve our APA citation skills, our paraphrasing skills, etc. So one thing to note is if you make an appointment and upload one of these 4 types of papers, your tutor will go ahead and run your paper through Turnitin for you as part of their tutoring process. So you can expect that if you're uploading an undergraduate paper, any paper that you're working on at an undergraduate level, a literature review, an MFT, marriage and family therapy capstone, or if the tutors deem the paper questionable, there's no citations and it seems like there should be, or there's abrupt shifts in style or format, we might run it through Turnitin to give you a heads up about any potential or accidental plagiarism. To access your own plagiarism checkers, they're in every course in Canvas, and they'll be under modules, and it's labeled Turnitin Self-Check. So a few tips about getting Writing Center feedback. If you just want feedback on one part of your paper, let us know. We'll be more than happy to focus just on the conclusion, or starting on page 3, you have these questions. We'll be happy to tailor our feedback if you have those specific requests. Know that our appointments are 1 hour, so it's reasonable to expect a tutor to get through 12 to 15 pages in a 1 hour time slot. You're welcome to submit something longer if you happen to be working on something longer, like a dissertation chapter. Just know that we probably won't get through the whole thing. And so that's especially if you do want feedback on a specific section, just let your tutor know in the appointment form. We have a lot of different blog posts, so I've linked that here. If you're not sure what type of appointment you want, you can check out our blog. We've also got other topics for blog posts as well. Keep in mind that you can always submit a rough draft, even an outline or just, a very beginning draft of a paper. You don't have to wait till you've got a final draft to get feedback. In fact, I suggest sometimes getting feedback in the middle of your writing process like that to help guide the rest of your writing and revision process. A question in the chat, is a dissertation the same thing as a thesis? That's a good question. We use the term dissertation to refer to our doctoral students' work. So the EDD programs write a dissertation. The DNP program actually referred to that as a doctoral project instead of a dissertation. And then usually a thesis is what is written at the master's level, but that's just my experience. So we refer to dissertation for doctoral work. Great question. If you need help even getting started, you can always schedule a Zoom appointment to help you brainstorm and get started on a writing assignment. So, even if you don't have anything, you can come to a Zoom appointment with a blank page and we can get started together. So I'm going to start going through a few other things quickly. I know we're reaching the end of the hour here. Tutor.com, we mentioned, is a separate resource from the Writing Center. You can also access that through Canvas for free as an ACU student. So here are a few instructions on how to access Tutor.com to make sure you're using your ACU account. But once you log in through ACU, you can submit papers for review. And you can also select other types of tutoring, like I mentioned before. They help with a lot of different subjects outside of just writing and APA support. I gave you a link in the chat room for how to access Grammarly. And you might be wondering, how do I interact with Grammarly or other AI, including generative AI tools? So that is an ongoing conversation in higher education. It's a hot topic, as you might say. And so we've got a few blog posts and we're writing more, along with other resources about using AI in academic writing. Some caveats for ethical use and things to consider. So check that out if you're interested. And if you are interested in reviewing the slides, I'm going to recommend you put a little reminder to check back on our website here, where we'll be posting the slides. In addition, go ahead and RSVP if you haven't already for tonight's webinar, including the Introduction to the Writing Center webinar or any of the future webinars that we're offering, and I can email it to you directly if you have RSVP'd for tonight's webinar. So again, if you click on that RSVP link, you can go ahead and make sure you include tonight's webinar, and I'll grab your email from that form to ensure you get the slides and the recording. All right, so for 5 minutes, we can do this. We're going to talk about how to kickstart your first writing assignment. So we just want to acknowledge that if you're feeling overwhelmed, feeling anxious, feeling unsure about writing at the graduate or college level, you're not alone. And that's why the Writing Center is here for you. We absolutely love what we do. We're here to cheer you on, not to tear your writing down. And so I hope that you will go ahead and get to know the Writing Center early in your studies. One of the main resources we have is the APA template. So let's practice, and you might have already downloaded it. If not, that's okay. We're going to show you what it looks like, and know that you'll get better at the things you practice often. So we're going to take a look at if we were starting that assignment I showed you in Canvas, what would it look like to get started without having done any of the prep work, just to set up our paper and give ourselves a good head start. So to do that, I'm going to open up the template. So the RSVP link, again, is here in the chat room. If you click on that link, it'll take you to a form to fill out. Great question. And here's that link to download our APA template if you're interested and you missed it earlier. Once you download it and open it in Microsoft Word, here's what it looks like. And you're going to see the very first page is a title page. And in APA, that's the expectation. If you're writing a paper and it says to follow APA guidelines or style or format, you'll have a title page and it'll look like this. So if you're using the template, you can easily start to fill these parts in. So you might say week 2, assignment 1, and list the assignment there. As you can see, you can just type directly into the template once you've opened it in Word. All right, and start filling these things in. Easy as that. Once you scroll past the title page, you're going to see here's the main body of your paper. You're going to repeat the title. This is what paragraphs look like in APA. They're double spaced. Times New Roman 12-point font is great. 1-inch margins. All of this, including page numbers, is already there in the template for you. So we keep scrolling. We've also got a sample references page. If you are citing sources, you're going to do that a specific way in APA format. That's why we have a lot of other APA resources for you. It's too much to cover for tonight, but just know there's more. You don't have to know all of it yet. And you can also make Writing Center appointments to ask for specific tailored feedback to you and what you're working on. So let's say that you are working on this paper and we're going to grab the instructions and put them directly in the template. And here's why. That's going to give us, boom, an outline. So if you're wondering, like, how do I get started on a paper? How do I make an outline? Often, not all the time, but often the assignment straight from Canvas is very detailed and is a great outline for you. And these aren't just suggestions, but they're specific instructions for each part of your paper. So as you can see, if you copy into the template, you can go ahead and just jumpstart an outline. And I haven't even done any of the prep work, but I can come back to this paper as I'm ready later in the week and start filling in the answers to these questions and then deleting the parts that I'm done with from the prompt. So I hope that's helpful just to see one way to use the APA template. I know we've covered a lot, so I'm going to stick around for a few extra minutes before we close to answer any last questions. But just to close out the webinar for our recording, again, we have a lot of upcoming APA webinars and more and more feedback on how to outline, how to set yourself up for success. So I know some of you have another webinar you're looking to go to after this, so thank you so much for your time. This is where I'll end the recording and stick around to answer any final questions.